Bike of the month back in October was a light one. Only had 4 submissions, but there were some goodies. I'm about to talk about them right now for the sugarcane.com Bike of the Month results for October 2024. Starting with bike number 4, and that bike is a 2024 Divide 24-inch BMX racing bike. And this bike was sent in by the BMX legend himself, owner of Divide brand, Dale Holmes. That's right, he submitted his own personal Divide 24-inch BMX race bike, and that's big love right there, man. Big shout out to Dale for submitting this bike and showing love to the site, representing for Bike of the Day. I think this bike right here was one of the first 24-inch Divide bikes out there, and this bad boy was looking real good. I've said this before and I'm gonna say it again. You can't go wrong with a chrome plated 4130 BMX bike with a mix of chrome and black parts. That just looks funky fresh. I'm feeling a little crazy, y'all. I'm feeling a little wild today, so bear with me. So Dale said about this bike that it was built by Neil Wood from Cult Crew with design and input by Mark Ward. So you got some legendary hands on this bike to get it all done up, and it's looking great. So now that we know a little bit about the background on this build, let's check out those parts, alright? So the frame, fork, and bars are made by Divide. That's right. Divide is making parts, not only just frames, they're making parts as well, so that's really cool. He's got some profile hubs on the bike, Hope brakes, profile cranks, the Yoshimura pedals, which I really like, man. I see a lot of people with the Yoshimura pedals, and them joints are kind of fire, and I definitely would like to, I want to try some of those out. I want to see how they feel. You know, they're a bigger pedal, so you get more platform for your foot, so definitely want to check out the Yoshimura pedals. He also has a running chainring on his bike, so shout out to George Costa, still going strong with Running Design Group. He's got a Cult rail seat and post combo. He's got the Vans and Cult waffle grips, and he also has a Cult Redemption stem. There are a few parts that weren't mentioned on this bike. You know, we kept it kind of light. You know, it was a little light on the information on the bike. You know, I like to go in with the parts list, like, you know, the tires, the inner tube, the bottom bracket, headset, all that good stuff, but he didn't put that information in, so it's a little light. But it's Dale Holmes though, so I let him live. It's Dale Holmes, legendary rider, doing his thing, representing for the kids, got the brand, doing his clinics and everything, so big shout out to Dale Holmes for that. But yeah, hopefully the future bikes he sends in, he will give me a more detailed parts list, but that bike is fire. Oh, and if you really want to know what parts he has on this bike in particular, you can come to sugarcane.com, zoom in on those pictures, you know, check out all the photos I got, and you might be able to figure out the rest of the stuff he has on his bike. Alright, so only 4 people gave the Divide 24-inch a rating, giving it a total color score of a 7.29, originality 6.7, parts 7.18, and overall style got a rating of a 7.29, giving it a total overall rating score of a 7.12. So if you haven't given this bike a rating yet, definitely come back to sugarcane.com and give this one a rating. I got the link in the description, especially for y'all who want to see the bike go up in the ranking. Next up is bike number 3, and that bike is the 2016 Skyway TA24. This Skyway has that classic signature show chrome plated colorway with red, white, and blue accents. I like how the blue and red are paired up on some of the parts, which gives this bike some color coordinated details to check out, so I like that. This bike was submitted by Marcus Ripley, who said he used to race BMX back in the early 80s. He always wanted a Skyway back then, but it was too expensive. Anyways, he fell back in love with BMX from watching my videos on YouTube and other videos, of course, at the age of 52 years old. So at 52 years old, he came on YouTube, started watching videos, saw my videos, saw other people's videos, got back into BMX racing. Like I said, that's cool that people are getting back into BMX after checking out my videos and other people's videos, and it definitely gives me a reason to keep doing this. So big shout out to Marcus for submitting his bike and showing love to the site. Now let's check out those parts, son. Yeah! All right, so we have Skyway TA26 frame, fork, and bars, Sun Rhinolite XL rims with titanium spokes, 6mm red and blue nipples, Bullseye Elite hubs, so you know that cost some coin right there, Skyway valve caps, star spun chain tensioner, 17-tooth white industry freewheel, those joints ain't cheap neither, a chrome Skyway laid back seat post, Skyway seat, Skyway pads, Skyway seat post clamp, AME grips, Skyway donuts to protect your hands from getting them blisters, Hutch Deep H gooseneck, Captain America compression cap, which is really cool. I like those little details like that. Odyssey headset, Cook Brothers brake lever, Chrome MCS lightning brake cables, Cook Brother box rear V brakes, nice. Diacom 890 front brakes, Vans brake pads, 180mm profile cranks with titanium hardware, which is a really nice combination. Also has a titanium spindle, so you know he's spending money on this bike right here. He's got Skyway pedals made by Bullseye, so you know that's gotta cost a lot of money. Dang. Bullseye spider chainring and bolts, that ain't cheap neither. KMC blue chain and the 40-year anniversary 2020 Radical Rick number plate. Wow, my man put some work into this bike, and you see the difference? You see the difference when somebody gives you a fully detailed parts list? It's a whole different experience. All the different details about the build and what went into the bike, and man, this bike has a lot of treats on it and some real pricey treats. Anytime you go Bullseye, anytime you go titanium, you spending money on your bike. I like that. I like when people put money into their bike. All right, so 4 people gave this bike a rating as well, with the overall color score of a 7.49, originality 7.58, parts 7.64, overall style 7.7, giving it a total rating score of a 7.6. So, like I said before, if you don't like where the bike is sitting in the ratings, definitely come back sugarcane.com, give the bike a rating. Tell your friends to give a bike a rating, you know? Be honest with your ratings too. Don't just be giving it all 10s, just be giving it all 10s. Like, give it some honest rating, you know, with the parts, the originality, the color, all that good stuff. You know, be honest about it. Bike number 2 is a 2023 Gary Turner Legend 29-inch BMX bike. Yo, the cruisers were in full effect back in October. That's what's up. We got all cruisers so far on this list. It's crazy. Now this bike right here is a nice looking build that's ready for cruising around town, but with all of those high-end parts, it's also ready for whatever you're going to throw at it. That's right, this bike is made to get busy and actually look good doing it. Big shout out to John DeVecchio for submitting this one here. He's also the same guy that submitted that sick white redline squareback. So John got some real treats at his crib, and I appreciate him sharing his builds for Bike of the Day, man. It's much love. All right, so here's what John had to say about the inspiration for this build. He said he was born in 1972, which is the same year that GT BMX was created, and growing up racing around the neighborhood, he always wanted a GT. This Gary Turner Legend 29 frame looks a lot like the 1980s Pro Performer. A lot of his favorite brands are in the components to bring it all together. He goes on to say that this bike is perfect for his riding style these days. So that's what's up. You know, a lot of guys that come back into the game and ride, and they don't want to go back to a 20-inch because, you know, it might be a little small for what they want to do. They want something that's a little more comfortable for them, that they can ride and cruise around on. The bigger bikes give you a smoother ride. They're more forgiving when it comes to doing tricks and also hitting potholes and things like that. A lot of those guys, they come back and they ride the bigger bikes because of that. But I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from riding a 20-inch because 20 inches are fun. They're a lot of fun, and if you get the proper size bike for you, you'll feel a big difference than what you was riding back in the 80s, because a lot of those guys come back from the 80s. Those bikes back then were made a lot smaller as far as the length and the rear end and stuff. Newer bikes are really made in various sizes that can really fit your style of riding and fit your size. So I definitely wouldn't want to discourage anybody from trying a 20-inch, because once you get a 20-inch dial, you can ride any other bike ever made. Alright, so let's go to the parts list on this bike, and the parts on this bike consist of some special high price items, and I'm gonna run them down for you right now. Starting with the Gary Turner Legend 29-inch frame. He also got the Gary Turner diesel forks, JTT DG 10-inch rise bars. Wow, 10-inch rise bars on a 29-inch bike. That's gotta be like this, yo. That's gotta be crazy. I have 8.5-inch rise bars on my 26-inch, and that felt good. A little bit tall, but it felt good. But 10-inch rise bars on a 29-inch bike, that's gotta be like, that's really cruiser style right there. But let's keep moving with the parts. Alright, so he's got 180mm Bullseye cranks, he's got Bullseye American bottom bracket, Bullseye stem, Bullseye world famous hubs, Bullseye elite V-brake combo, Bullseye chain tensioners, Bullseye pro round pedals, Bullseye headset. Man, that's a lot of Bullseye parts right there. All those parts right there probably cost more than somebody's bike. Just those parts alone. Anyways, he's got a CST 36 tooth chain ring, profile spider. He's got a Bruce Gordon Rockin' Road 700C by 48 tires, Evil Alloy seat post, Evil Alloy skinny little B seat guts, Evil Alloy bar ends, Evil Alloy valve caps, Technique hole shot rims, Brooks Imperial saddle, Harrow grips, Azumi black and nickel chain, 4 Aces BMX GT wing seat post clamp, and an MCS Lightning brake cable. He's got the ink black powder coating done by Rapid Concepts in Hollis, Queens. And the bike was built up by Peak Bike Shop in Douglaston, Queens. Shout out to Peak Bike Shop. You know, they come down to Cunningham Park, represent for the park and support that. And they've been doing it for a long time. So big shout out to Peak Bikes out there in Queens. Man, but let's talk about them parts for a second. Jeez. That's really expensive, man. This bike got to cost a couple $1,000s with all those parts on there, man. Them things are expensive, but this bike must look immaculate in person with the Technique parts and the Evil Alloy parts and the Bullseye parts. It's a lot of really expensive parts and really nice looking parts. So definitely would like to see that one in person. So 5 people gave this bike a rating, giving it a total color score of 8.19, originality 8.09, parts 8.18, and the overall style 8.28, giving it a total rating score of an 8.19. So this one did better than the other ones, of course, is why it's in the position that it's in. If you want to add your review of this bike, definitely come back to sugarcane.com. Link is in the description so you can go and rate this bike. So we definitely want you to rate and review this bike right here. There's a bike of the year competition going on, and I may do a special bike of the year for 29-inch. Keep them votes coming in, yo. And now, the October 2024 sugarcane.com bike of the month is a 2024 Rumblefish CS OS20 Pro XL. That's right. This is another nice Rumblefish CS submitted by Rumblefish owner Richard Kerr. This is the first time that there was no regular 20-inch BMX bikes on the bike of the month chart ever. It's an OS20, so it's still kind of a 20-inch, but it's not a regular 20-inch. It's a little bit bigger than a 20-inch. OS20 is the closest thing to ride a 20-inch without actually riding a 20-inch. So it gives you that advantage of having a smoother ride, a little more stability, but doesn't feel like a cruiser. Doesn't feel big like a cruiser, doesn't handle like a cruiser as far as it being responsive. It's more responsive like a 20-inch. It's just small enough where if you want to race it in 20-inch class, you can, but it's not big enough to race it in cruiser. So it's like right in that little limbo space right there. So anyways, this disc-only chromoly frame is ready for the track with its low-profile stance. Can't go wrong with that orange and blue colorway either. It's pretty dope. It's got the black and chrome and polish to complete the look. This bike is just fire. I love the way it looks, and I personally haven't ridden an OS20. Like I think I sat on the OS20 for a hot second, but I never really rode OS20 or spent time on OS20. So I think I need to do an episode where I hop on this OS20 and see what that's all about, because I think it's a dope size. I love, you know me, I like anything that adds to the plate of BMX and BMX racing. So I love it. I'm going to try it out. Maybe I just get some OS20 wheels and an OS20 fork and put on my bike on some hybrid OS20 type bike. So, but I am digressing from the subject at hand, and we talking about Richard's OS20. This is actually Richard's first OS20 design and build, and I think it came out amazing. Richard said that on this build he went with a tapered head tube and steerer tube on the forks, so he got a 1 1/8 to 1 1/2. The jig he used is pretty basic, no built-in angle gauges or measurements. So when he builds a frame, he has a base setting he uses for a starting point, and he makes adjustments from there. This being his first OS20, he had no base setting, so he started from his 20-inch Pro base, and he had to add a little swag, aka scientific wild guess. So now that we know about the inspiration for this build, let's check out those parts, son. All right, the parts on this bike. You got a Rumblefish CS OS20 Pro XL frame. He's got a Rumblefish CS OS20 tapered fork, 11 stem. He's got some Euro mountain bike cranks, Hope pedals, profile hubs, SC racing handlebars, Answer grips, Hope brakes, Hope seat clamp, Pro logo seat, Sin seat post, Alienation rims, and he's got Toyota power block tires. Now on the geometry tip, he's got a 21-inch top tube, 74.5 head tube angle, and his chainstay starts at 15 1/4 and it goes all the way up to 16.5 inches. Whoa, that is a long rear end. He has a 72-degree seat tube angle. Bottom bracket height is 11 1/4. And the wheelbase on this frame is 38 1/4 inches all the way up to 40 inches. 5 people gave this bike a rating, giving it a total color score of an 8.66, originality 8.78, parts 8.03, overall style 8.72, giving it an overall rating score of an 8.55. Big shout out and congratulations to Richard Kerr of Rumblefish for winning the grand prize of Super Glory October 2024 on sugarcane.com. Really appreciate all the bikes that people submit so we can showcase them and people can check them out, get some ideas for parts, and just admire all the dope builds that these people are doing. I really enjoy showcasing the bikes and letting people see the different variety of BMX bikes that are out there and some of the things that you can do to make your bikes look better. I hope that you guys enjoy the series, and I hope that, this inspires you to either get a BMX bike or do something special to your bike and realize that there's a lot of options out there that you can do to hook your bikes up. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I mean. Anyway, so that is it for the top 4 user-rated bikes for October 2024 on sugarcane.com, which is basically called Bike of the Month. Make sure you come back to sugarcane.com and give all these bikes a rating because they're all in the running for Bike of the Year, the 2024 Bike of the Year competition. Definitely put in your feedback, your review via the sliders on each page. Make sure you also like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Definitely comment below because having engagement with the videos, having engagement on sugarcane.com helps the site grow, helps the channel grow, and that's what's up. That's what we need. We want to spread the word, let more people see these bikes, see there's a lot more going on in BMX and just backflips and bar spins, you know what I'm saying? So let's all do that. All right, so this is Crazy Out Kane, sugarcane.com, CACTV, Bike of the Month. Keep submitting those bikes, y'all. All right, and I'm out. Back to you, Billy.